In this video, we are looking at how coaching attributes affect player development in Football Manager 2024. And our guinea pigs for this experiment are Chelmsford City, currently sitting in the Vanarama National League South, giving their team a lot of room to grow. And I have gone through and made every single player in this squad 18. And we are going to do this simulation for 5 seasons, allowing us to see how these players improve from 18 years old to 23 years old, a period of explosive development in Football Manager. And I've given every single player in this experiment the exact same attributes. So they all have 11 for all of their attributes, and they all have 10s for all of their hidden attributes. This gives them a current ability of 100. Then I've given them a potential ability of 150. And we are going to see how these players develop over the course of this experiment. So in theory, all of these players are pretty good for their division, and they have a lot of room to grow. So we're going to see how different coaching abilities and coaching attributes affect their development. And I've run this simulation 5 times. And as we can see here, Chelmsford City has a head coach, an assistant coach, and 3 coaches. And this is what I've done to their attributes. In the first simulation, I've given each coach a 1 for all of their attributes. And this includes their hidden attributes, giving them a current ability of 1. In the second simulation, I've given each coach attributes that are all 5. And once again, they have hidden attributes that are all 5, giving them a current ability of around 35. In simulation 3, I've bumped the coaching attributes up to 10, along with their hidden attributes, giving them a current ability around 100. Following that, we did a simulation where we put all of their coaching attributes at 15. Including their hidden attributes, which gives them a current ability of around 160. And interestingly, once all hidden attributes are set to 15, that's when you get a model citizen personality. And finally, we have made them the creme de la creme of coaches, giving them attributes that are all 20, giving them a 200 current ability, making them the best possible coaching staff in the game. And of course, for all of these simulations, we have frozen the coach's attributes, so this will not change throughout the course of the 5 seasons. Then we have locked each player at the club for 5 seasons, and I will track their current abilities over the course of the 5 seasons to see how they develop and to determine whether varying levels of coaching abilities really do affect player development in FM24. So after that, we simulated forward 5 seasons. And in that time, I came back year by year to see how each player's current ability had changed throughout the course of this save underneath each of these coaching staffs. And I recorded everything in an Excel spreadsheet, which we will look at when we are going over the results of this experiment. So how did Chelmsford do in each of these simulations? Beginning with the coaching attributes being all 1, they got promoted to League 1 in the final season of the simulation, going from the Vanarama National League South to the Vanarama National League, all the way up to Skybet League 1, and again, getting promoted in the final season. When all coaching attributes were set to 5, they got up to League 1 much earlier, getting promoted from League 2 in just the 3rd season before becoming a League 1 level side. Interestingly, when the coaching attributes were set to 10, there was a ton of success with back-to-back-to-back promotions, and in the final season, Chelmsford City were promoted from League 1 up to the Skybet Championship. Slightly less success was seen when coaching attributes were set to 15. They were promoted to League 1 and nearly promoted to the championship, but they just couldn't quite get over the playoff hump. But unsurprisingly, Chelmsford City experienced the most success when the entire coaching staff had attributes set at 20. They were promoted every single season as they made their way to the Skybet Championship, and in Season 5, they finished as a mid-table team in the championship. So with that in mind, the most successful side was in fact the team led by the most amazing coaching staff in the world. But did their performances on the pitch translate to improved player development? We are going to switch over to the spreadsheet so you can see how I did all of that. We will break down all of the data and we will find out, does improved coaching lead to improved player development? So this is the Google Sheets that I use to get all of the data for the players. So at the beginning, each player had a 100 current ability. That was with everything, all of their attributes set to 11. And then I tracked their improvement over season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, and season 5. And at the bottom here, if you guys can see that, I took the averages across each season. So the averages are what we are going to be comparing. So this is the Google Sheet for coach 1. So this is when all of the attributes for each of the coaches were set to 1. I, of course, did the same thing for when all of the attributes were set to 5. So this is what that looks like. All of the attributes set to 10. So this is what that looks like. All of the attributes set to 15. So this is what that looks like. And all of the attributes set to 20. So this is what that looks like. So this is all of the raw data. And what I did is, again, I compiled the averages here, and then we have a little graph here, which we will look at the end. But let's start off with our table here. So again, this is season 1, or season 0, sorry, the beginning. Then season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5. And what we have seen here is something really interesting. Between 1 and 5, not a huge amount of difference here. 109 to 109. 113 to 115, 118 to 118, 120 to 121, and 120 to 121. A 5 is a little bit better than 1s, but overall, not a huge difference. Where we see explosive development comes when all of the coaching attributes were set to 10. 111.9 after season 1 was the average current ability. That is a 12 current ability improvement for on average for each of the players. This was actually the highest of all of them. After that, 119, 123, and then 125. This actually had the best player development when all of the attributes were set to 10. My theory for this is that when all of the attributes were set to 10, it was at a very similar level to what the players were already at. So maybe combining those levels led to better player development. But interestingly, 10 is like a cutoff point for really good player development. After that, 15, we saw much better player development, certainly than 5 or 1. Nearly 110, 116, 120, 122, 123. And then coaching 20, between the 5 seasons, did have the best player development. So 110, 117, 122, 125, and then a little bit higher, 125 compared to the 10 attributes. So over the course of 5 seasons, the 20 attribute coaches had the most player development, but interestingly, within it here, we saw that the 10 attributes were a little bit better. And now looking here, this is our kind of final graph. So we can see here, coaching 1, so 1 attributes here. This is the blue line. This was, in fact, the lowest. Coaching 5 was the next one. This was the next lowest. Interestingly, after that, it's coaching 15. And then we can see here coaching 20 and coaching 10 finished very similarly up top, coaching 20 being slightly better at the end. But interestingly, in the beginning, we saw that the coaching 10 one was a little bit better, but the coaching 21 had the most consistent kind of development over the course of it. So we can see here at the beginning, this is more of an asymptotic curve like we see with the coach 10. We see really stark improvement at the beginning, especially in the first 2 seasons or so, and then it kind of tails off. For the coaching 21, we see very linear between season 1 and season 3. We see much more linear development. So this suggests that we don't see such an explosive improvement. The 20 coaching led to more consistent development across the course of the 5 seasons. And I would say this kind of suggests that as players get better and in the higher divisions, it's possibly better to have better coaches. And maybe in the lower divisions, you want them to at least have a 10 coaching ability. But maybe having coaches around the level of your players might help. Of course, this is just a theory. There could also just be something that randomly happened in this save that caused all of the players to have really good player development. And I will add, for the most part, there weren't other new signings affecting any of these day games. For the most part, the players that we are looking at in these spreadsheets here, all of these players, were the ones that predominantly played for Chelmsford City. But again, this is the data. I think the big takeaway here is that 10 seems to be the cutoff point for coaching ability to help improve your players. And certainly at higher levels, it might be better to have better coaching. But at the least, you want at least a 10 for key coaching attributes to help your players develop. Well, that is everything I've got for this video. It turns out improvements in coaching really do lead to improvements in player development. It seems like there is a threshold. If we can get our coaching attributes in key areas to be at least a 10, that seems to optimize player development. Anything after that, especially once you get to the 20 mark, does improve it a little bit, maybe. But again, I was surprised to see how good the coaching staff of all 10 was. Maybe since that was at a level that was pretty close to the players' levels, like as far as current ability between coaches and players is concerned, that might have led to that improved and really explosive development, especially in the beginning. But it seems like, all things considered, we want coaching attributes to at least be a 10. Anything lower than that seemed to really not do well comparatively, and 10 seems to be that cutoff point that we are looking for in those key attributes. With that being said, overall, better coaching seems to yield better player development. Anyways, that is everything I've got for this video. I would like to give a massive shout out to @RDCS, who came up with the idea for this video and posted it in the comments. So a massive shout out to Artie. You're in the comments all the time. So please, if you see him in the comments, give him a shout out, give him some love. He's always around, super, super nice guy. And of course, if you have an idea for a football manager experiment, let me know and I will see if I can get around to it. But that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!